That's better, eh? Good morning. Let's give everybody a minute or two to get on here with us. And good morning. It's Conservation Coffee. And I hope everybody's having a wonderful morning so far. Let's go live with this. Hey, everybody. Good morning. I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. This is Conservation Coffee. It's our time to get together and talk about a couple positive things that are happening in the world around us. Because especially during this COVID time, everybody is getting very, a little stir crazy at home. So we need positive stories to remind us that we are connected to the world around us and good things can happen even in the worst of times. Let's see. Let's see who we have here with us today. Please type in, say hello. Yeah, I've got my phone here, so I'm going to turn that on. It also enables me to talk here. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a great day. So what I wanted to talk about today are a couple amazing stories fresh off the presses. Good morning, Coralie. I hope you're doing well. I know you've been working a lot, fighting for the environment, especially recently. So I appreciate that. Hey, Camilla, good morning. Yes, there we go, everybody. The Hawaiian shirt to greet the day. Remember, if you can, put on your Hawaiian shirt thoughts and just be positive. And you know what? That going out there and just being that enables everybody else to have a good time. Every time I wear a Hawaiian shirt to a movie or something, people assume I'm on vacation, and somehow it lightens them up and enables them to start laughing and talking to me. So it's good. Positivity is more contagious than negativity, and that's a trick that nobody wants you to know, but it's true. Hey, Sherry, good morning. Thank you. I am feeling a lot better. Hey, Dave, good morning. Thanks for being on. Andrea, thanks for being on today from Romania. And Sherry, I appreciate it. Yesterday, for my friends that are on the show know that I've had extreme reactions I've been on this medicine called Odomzo. It's right here. And this medicine, they have put me on to try to shrink my tumors. Now, the medicine has been working, but the side effects got so severe that I've been unable to actually move over the last week due to extreme cramp pains. It's like my muscles, it's like a Charlie horse. Your whole body gets one. So luckily I got to go to the doctor and he took some blood tests and they've taken me off the medicine for a little bit. So I'm already starting to feel better. And you know what? That's what it's all about, right? Like day to day, minute to minute, happiness is an action, not a reaction. So make your choice. It's the way I see every day. Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that. Smiles are infectious. This is the thing. Everybody has, I think, a very infectious smile. And if you can get to talk to good people and surround yourself with people that are good, your life will be fantastic. I'm very lucky. I have amazing people in my life and I have amazing people in my field. And I have amazing people on this show every time we come on the air together. So it's perfect. So, let's talk about more positivity today. Hey, Hannah, good morning. Thanks for being here with us. Hey, Angela, it's good to see you. I hope everything's going well. I know you are also out there fighting for the environment and out there trying to change things. So, and Angela did some work. We worked back in Cambodia together. So, Angela's been out in the front fields, and it's interesting because then Angela did work in Jamaica with people that I also know in Jamaica. So it's, conservation's a small world. It's really cool. So I love that. Hey, Nicole, thanks for tuning in today. Appreciate it. So let's talk about some positivity in the news. Well, first, I want to talk about something weird in the news, and then we'll go to all the positive stories. So there's a place in California, and there was a nuclear reactor meltdown here in 1959. It's called Santa Susana. Now, Santa Susana is here, I'll show you guys. Santa Susana was a NASA built area and also used to test rocket fuels. Now, a lot of this has left a very dangerous legacy when a lot of the people have cancers that are completely hybrid or environmental, and the doctors don't know how to treat them. So they're very much another group that is fighting for the same cancer problem that I'm often seeing, and we really need to be fixing. So NASA and the Department of Energy promised years back to clean this thing up. Santa Susana. Now, Santa Susana also was the place from the very famous Woolsey fire in 2018, the fire that burned everything down out here. It's near Malibu. So in case you're not familiar with the area, Santa Susana is basically just between the hills and between Malibu. So it's going to so Santa Susana is right here, and above it is the valley. To the side of it is all of the valley areas called North Hills and those areas, and then to the other side of it is Malibu. So it runs down to Malibu, and then south it comes down towards Santa Monica. So it's a massive area, and in 2010 they were supposed to clean it up, but then they decided against it and recently said we're not going to do it. And the weird thing is they now want to claim that this is a landmark. They want this toxic SUPERFUND site that's giving people cancer to be considered a national landmark. Now, it's very strange, and they're actually working with a lot of the native tribes in the area because there are burial sites there. So it's a very confusing topic. It's just weird, and I wanted to share it before we went on to something positive. But that's the crazy thing, is that for a long time the government has been testing things around and keeping it quiet, and they've been using our water supplies and keeping quiet. And a lot of us, like myself, have weird hybrid cancers that come from the environment. I never even heard of Santa Susana, and I didn't get cancer until I moved to California. So these are the things, and I know there's a lot of amazing groups out there right now fighting at Santa Susana, and they're saying, no, you still have a responsibility to clean up this site. You've left over all this rocket fuel that's got forever chemicals in it, right? The PFAS and PFOS are inside of this place, as well as, now the crazy thing is in 1959, when the nuclear reactor melted, it hissed out in colorless, odorless gas into the environment and then settled into the ground. So it's very interesting. So I'm really curious to see how this is going to play out. This is one of the things that we actually get to see happening as it unfolds. Hey Vera, good morning. Thanks for joining today. We're about now to get into some super positive conservation coffee. I hope everybody's having a wonderful coffee or a tea. Or if you're on the other side of the world, beer or a wine. Yes. Or, hey, I'm not one to judge. You can have beer or wine, I guess, any time zone you're in, really. So, hey, Sherry, good morning. Thanks for being on, Sherry. It's nice to see you here. And, it's great to see all these familiar faces and everybody coming together in the mornings, because we're a community, okay? And if you're like me, you can't go have coffee with your friends and start talking about all this stuff, because they just go, and their eyes glaze over. And most of the people that I talk to about conservation, their response is kind of, who cares? Or what can I do about it? So they reject the entire idea. And what's important is that we understand that our voice is important, how we act is important, and what we do is important. Not only is it important, but it can change the world around us, and it often does. We have way more power than we know, and just by being positive and changing our day-to-day habits, as I always call it, the revolution through routine, you can change everything. Last week on my podcast, we talked about how you can actually make the world better if you eat more chocolate, just the right kind of chocolate. So, it's not old fuddy-duddy advice. It's fun, and the thing is, it's our world, and it really is. And we can change it by being conscious of everything we buy and the things that are going on around us. And unfortunately, we don't get to live in a world where that can go invisible any longer and invisible, and then allow the politicians and people to clean it up. We have to take care of things. So, hey, Sierra, good morning. Thanks for being on today. Sherry says, exactly. If we can't change or don't try, who will? Absolutely, Sherry. And, we can do it. And that's why I always say revolution through routine. You guys can change how businesses act based on what you buy. And, it's really, really critical. It's if you are lucky enough to get your food and your commodities from a store, then I think we are at kind of a tipping point where we're somewhat obligated to be conscious and to shop ethically as best we can. So, but revolution through routine, I've heard a lot of great feedback. A lot of my friends are trying it and they're saying that they're getting great results. So I'm super happy. So revolution through routine leads us to one of our news stories today, which is pizza boxes. Now, I don't eat pizza anymore because of all the grease and the fat and vegan. Although I do like vegan pizza sometimes. That's good. But we all know that for a long time we've been told you're not allowed to recycle pizza boxes because basically the only reason was that the people that were recycling just were afraid that the grease from the cheese was going to degrade the quality and the clarity and the brightness, I'm not making this up, this is true, of the recycled material. But the reality is, good news everybody, you can recycle your pizza boxes. Please recycle your pizza boxes. They are actually one of the largest amounts of trash that need to be recycled that end up in landfills instead, accidentally. So, here it is, 73% of the US population has access to recycling programs that do accept pizza boxes. So if you're out there and you're digging pizza and you've got recycling in your community, check it out because you should be able to recycle these. Only recently the recycling community has changed their mind about this. So what you heard 5 years ago, 10 years ago is no longer applicable to the technology and the way that they recycle now, and also the demand. I mean, think about it. We are now in a higher demand for recycled products more than ever. So people need their hands on getting their stuff back now. It's changing the way companies do business, and it's because of us. So, it's an exciting time to be around. Companies are starting to respond to us. We've been putting the pressure on for 50 years, and they're starting to listen. And we just got to keep racking that pressure up, and they will keep responding to us in a positive way as long as we speak to them in the language they understand, which is money. So, a recent survey of companies that belong to the American Forest and Paper Association found that pizza box acceptance is now almost universal among companies that manufacture from recycled cardboard. Great news. Not only that, but a lot of pizza box manufacturers are now trying to use recycled and post-consumer material. So it's a step in the right direction. For 30 years, we've accidentally been throwing all these pizza boxes into the trash instead of where it should go, which is recycling. Some people used to tear the tops off, recycle the one without the grease. But again, the grease is actually a misinformation, and it's old information back when the recycling companies weren't sure and they just didn't want to deal with it, quite honestly. There was no reason behind it. They just didn't want to deal with it. Now they have to deal with it, and they are dealing with it, and over 73% of us have access to that. We need to use that and encourage them to fill in that other, 17%. Math, never quite my strong suit. So, hey, good morning, Camilla. Thanks for being on. Positivity, it's infectious. I get it as soon as I hop on here and I see all the names of everybody, and it makes me excited to know that I'm with my community, with my people, talking about conservation, talking about positive stories, because look, conservation can be overwhelmingly difficult, and especially right now, we're all isolated. So the idea is, let's get together and have some coffee together and talk about positivity, because we all need to have that positive step, and why not make it your first step in the day? So the next thing I want to talk about is a huge victory for birds. This is fantastic. Now, birds, I often think, look, we use the expression free as a bird. We think that they always soar over everything, that our companies put up all of this pollution into the air and then it dissipates, and then above all that is the birds. Well, the bad news is that is sadly far from the truth. And a lot of factories kill so many birds with their emissions that it's actually creating issues for migratory birds. So recently, now our administration unfortunately has been trying to rewrite what's called the Migratory Treaty Bird Act. It seems absurd that we would have to have this, but we do. So migratory birds, they're the winners. They have the victory. Federal judge struck down the administration's latest rewriting of the MTBA, the Migratory Treaty Bird Act. And what happens is they've been trying to rewrite it to allow the polluters to just kill the birds without repercussions. Now, we're talking about hiring people to go out and shoot them. We're talking about excessive emissions that literally the birds just fall out of the sky. I know everyone has seen the stories on the news. They're not fake stories. There are places where emissions and air pollution is so bad that birds literally just die and fall out of the sky. That is insane. We can't see what's in the air, so we assume we're all okay. It's the reason that's led to so much debate over COVID, for example. And it allows the same debate, unfortunately, over emissions, because if you can't see it, it's hard to prove it or disprove it, especially in a world that we're currently in. So anyway, the birds have been going extinct and have been dying at extraordinary rates. So the MTBA, this first started back when we became an industrialized country, 1916, during the Industrial Revolution. So for a long time, we've said, look, you're not allowed to just go and kill birds for profit. This is not where we are as society. And not only that, but these are migratory birds. You have to remember, they don't nest in one spot. These birds are essential to the ecosystem and essential to the connection of animals around the world. So if we start killing off these migratory birds because they happen to fly over our toxic-filled air, which, by the way, we're breathing, then I think we have to really address that issue. Instead, what they're trying to do is say, no, let's not even punish these guys if their emissions are so bad or if they go out and kill birds intentionally. Now, the MTBA is actually, it's interesting, it's one of the oldest wildlife protection laws in the U.S., and it was one of the National Audubon Society's first big victories. So they still are fighting to keep it alive. Now, Coralie says, which is why I'm fighting the deforestation involved with the new projected corridor. Coralie, yeah, that is amazing. They are trying to, hey, fur, salud, my friend. Fur is my good amigo, my excellent, one of my closest friends down in Argentina. Amazing man. Works with children that fight cancer and fights to save the animals. So he's always been one of the heroes in my book. So it's really cool to see you on, Fur. Nice to see you, man. I'm excited I want to see you in person again soon. There's a lot of projects coming up, and time to get back out into the world, right? So, but yes, good morning. And so Coralie is fighting this this projected corridor, and if you're not familiar with it, you definitely want to Google it. They're trying to basically take a lot of land that used to be held for environmental reasons and also societal reasons. These areas, they're trying to basically allow business to go unreined. And, we're at a tipping point in our country, and I have to just remind everybody that, no matter where you live, companies are pulling water out of your rivers, running them through toxic processes and returning them back to your rivers, where they're then going down the river, being pulled into your local town for water supply, recycled and cleaned, but not cleaned. They don't have the ability, and almost every water recycling plant has admitted they do not have the ability to cleanse all of the chemicals coming out of recent pollution. So we're all being affected by this. It's the cancer of the body politic. The people that were supposed to save us have sold us to the corporations. So it is up to us to fight these back. And that's why a victory like that on Tuesday, where the judges sided with the birds over business is a huge step forward. And it reminds me of the rights of nature movement. It's a concept. And actually, right now, a judge actually sided with the birds over corporations. And this is good because we're at a tipping point. And if we want our companies to even continue, they're going to need to. It's the same with like all the conservation stuff I work on. If we want the world to continue to be a resource in any way, shape, or form, we have to make sure that we're not killing everybody around it and killing the environment and killing the animals around it. Because then we end up with just a dead zone, like the Gulf. We can't allow that. We've already seen that. So anyway, this is all about positive news. So the great news is the companies are going to be held to a higher standard and have to be cautious about how they're emitting and how many birds are happening, that they are able to kill. And this is a massive issue, especially in areas like Cancer Alley, I mean, think about it. The canary thing is an old thing, right? Hey, Javier, good to see you this morning. But, Javier will remember back when we were on Scrubs, you take the canary, you put the canary into an area, and if he survives, then everybody can go into that room and go make television. No, we didn't really use the canary thing, but I'm saying it's similar. If these birds are falling out of the sky because of the emissions that we can't see, we are dependent on corporate companies like the EPA to rein in and at least allow them to find a happy medium between allowing our children to get sick and allowing their corporations to run profitably. And we're not talking about destroying all the corporations. We're talking about responsible operation. And that should not be as crazy of a request as it appears to be. But Tuesday, the judges ruled in favor of the birds. So the birds win and nature wins, one step forward. Absolutely awesome. Remember, you can recycle your pizza boxes. So please start doing that. It's something that we all just misunderstood before. And, Santa Susana, we'll keep following up on that. Fascinating story. Let's see what happens. Never heard of somebody wanting to take a Superfund and turn it into a historic landmark. A lot of confusion over what's happening right there. Sherry says, you're right, here in Polk County, Florida, where mosaic phosphate mining is huge, they have formed the Polk County Water Co-op, where they intend to steal water from the city I live in and distribute it back to the areas with toxic water from mosaic. That's crazy, Sherry. And the problem is that it's becoming a standard operating procedure for all these corporations. And that's terrible because there is no way that Polk County is going to be able to, I've seen water tests from Florida where what they do in Florida, because they don't, and a lot of places do this, they don't have the chemicals to stop things like polonium. That's got a half-life. You're not filtering out something that has a half-life in a water recycle plant. So what they do is they use excessive amounts of chlorine. So if you have a question about if you have toxins in your water, one trace element you can find is chlorine. If you take water out of your water supply, tap water, whatever it is, and you take that in and you get that tested and it comes back with excessive levels of chlorine, they are masking chemicals they cannot clean. Just a little tip for everybody. And by the way, if you want to know how to test your water, it's very easy to do. It does not cost much money at all. And there's tons of local water testing. There's going to be environmental labs in colleges. There's all kinds of places. You can also email me or reach out to me through Facebook, and I will give you a local lab to you that you can go get your water tested. Dave, hey man, have a great one. Good to see you, Dave. Thank you, Dave, for always preserving nature, preserving the past, and keeping the children in touch with the past. If you guys aren't familiar, go to dominiontug.org for my friend Dave. He bought an old tugboat that's been made out of wood and uses it as a way to teach children not only about the environment, but about the past and also about preservation. So it's a really cool thing. It's an active, living museum classroom. Super cool. The kids get really into it. They're super engaged when they go there. It's, they're seeing the past. And it's great because they don't rope it off and make it a museum. They make it interactive museum, and kids always walk away with great memories. So it's a really awesome thing. It's up in Bremerton. My friend Dave and the Dominion Tug are in Bremerton near Seattle. Definitely check it out, especially if you live in the area. Take your kids over there. It's incredible. Yeah, I got a good fortune to work with those guys for a bit, and it's amazing. Yes, and Sherry, exactly. Nature wins. We are here to celebrate the victories of conservation. Conservation should no longer be a thing that everybody gets worried about and upset about and loses sleep over and says, stop showing me these horrible things. Conservation, let's claim that back. You know, it's ours. Let's change our world through positivity. We can lead by example. We can be positive by example. There are positive changes, and the problems that we face, we need to speak to people that continue those problems with positive solutions. There's always, you know, we can't come to a conversation without a solution. So wonderful, wonderful news today. Multiple solutions. Recycle your pizza boxes. The birds win. I love that, you know. I just love that. Who would have ever thought that, you know, a group of birds that don't even know about court would win it? Good on them, right? And yeah, we'll keep up with the Santa Susana. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a wonderful morning. I just wanted to say, you know, have a great day out there. Remember that you're not alone. Remember that we are all want a better tomorrow. And remember that our voices are being heard. So be positive, stay positive, be kind to yourself. And just by doing that, you will create a path that will change the positivity and the ability of nature and the future to go through. So sending out good vibes to everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. I'll see everybody tomorrow morning for some more positive eco news. So